So the next thing is installing the SSL certificate. And again, you go back into your control panel and then you search for Namecheap SSL. You click on that. And once you did it, you basically see here if you have SSL certificates ready. So if you purchased an SSL certificate, you should see it here. And then you for sure can install it, right? So all I do is, you see here, papas.marketing, click on that and install it. I also wanted to say, if you for some reason get an error, I had an error here before as well. It could be that it can't be syncing to your server. Then you need to log out with your username here and then re-log in, refresh this whole thing, and then sync again. And then you will see that the SSL certificate you purchased should show up, right? And also what I wanted to show you is, of course, this is now the papas.marketing website or domain. I typed it in, and this is all what you see. So you can see that you are kind of like connected to a server, but there isn't anything going on. It's just like an empty, space right now, and we want to change this later on. But this step is now, again, that you can see it from your control panel. Again, I click on home. Go to your Namecheap SSL certificates here, and now I click install, right? So that is basically everything you have to do. Then here it says replace existing SSL certificate. There's an SSL certificate on this domain. We'll replace existing ones. Let me real quick double check to see if we should replace it. But I think that's the only option, and download the existing one. So yes, everything is fine. And also what I like is you have a really good chat support at Namecheap. So if you have any questions, you always can contact them. So I click yes, replace. And then there are also details, install certificate. Well, I didn't pick any other Gmail address here right now, but you could either go with this one or I put in my other private one I have and just install it. And so like installed the certificate, right? So once this is done, then your domain should be also available with the SSL. And the next step is also if you want to turn on the redirect on that particular domain, or if you don't want to turn it on. You can also see like in the list, I have other domains here, and they're all active, and this one is in progress because it takes a while. But at this point, as far as I can remember when I did all the other installations as well, you don't need to do anything anymore, and you should be up and running in the next couple hours with your domain name and the SSL. One more step then later I show is, of course, if you choose like you want to be reached with www or just like papas.marketing, and you just have the HTTPS. And that's also the big difference in the domains, because instead of just having HTTP, you have then HTTPS in front of your domain name, and the S stands for the security certificate. So that's about it. I'll keep you posted in the next step, but that's about it, how you install an SSL certificate. So actually, after you have been adding the SSL certificate, you have to wait a little bit, and then back on in the CPanel, you go back, right? And then when you're here, you have to sync to, again with Namecheap. So you click the sync button, and now actually the entire process is finished. That was the last step. Okay, now you can check actually if the HTTPS works. And as you can see, when you type this in, then you can see here no errors or whatever. And you can make sure that the HTTPS is working for papas.marketing domain. But there is still something what we have to do, because until yet, the HTTP papas.marketing is set by default. That means usually your hosting will always by default set your domain name to the HTTP only, and you want to make sure that it is by default actually going straight to the HTTPS. No matter before you even start anything in ranking or whatever, no matter what you do, you want to follow that and you want to make sure that HTTPS is set by default. So the question is, how do you do that in your cPanel? So you go back in your cPanel here, as you can see, and then you click on Namecheap SSL certificate again. And once you're here, realize you always can, of course, sync this here, but keep in mind, you see here, you have this blue button, my Namecheap SSL, and you have right next to it the installed via plugin feature option. When you click on installed via plugin, this is where you want to be, because this is basically this tab shows you the Namecheap SSL certificates that is installed by default when you purchased, so to speak, like a hosting package. So sometimes, for instance, here I purchased one. My hosting package has those certificates included, but when you purchase additional ones, etc., and you install them by plugin, this is exactly what I showed you before. You want to make sure that this is redirected by default to the HTTPS. As you can see here, there is this button, HTTPS redirect, and if you click it, that's all what you have to do. Now, those specific certificates or that specific domain is absolutely making sure that everything is going to be redirected automatically to that particular domain.